Well, just got back from the Huni Goodall fight, and Justice Huni is still the Australian champion. It was a good fight, but competitive, but I didn't have it that close on the scorecards, unfortunately. And I was riding with my boy Joe, but for me, he was just getting outworked and outboxed for the majority of the fight. Even though it was always dangerous and it was always competitive, Honey was just putting together the crisper, cleaner, more eye-catching shots that were happening more frequently. Joe was landing really good power shots, especially when he would come in and catch Honey, but then they would get wrapped up and tangled up in this sort of wrestling match, and that was the story of a lot of the fight. Was a lot of the fight took place in this phone booth where I don't think it plays to Joe's advantages. I think possibly because of Joe's new style and the fact that he's bigger now. He's weighing it at 108 kilograms for this fight when, usually at the start of his pro career and his amateur career, he was around 102, 103 kilograms. So most of the time he was pressing forward. He was trying to get him out of there, trying to hurt him, basically just ragdoll him, which he did at points. However, when they were on the inside and they got tangled up, Huni was able to, but they were both smothered, and Huni was able to kind of shoe shine and outwork him there. And he was also catching him with really sharp counters when Joe was trying to get on the inside. And so it ended up being a basically numbers game. I believe both guys had each other rocked at points because there were some really good solid shots landed, and there were both points where guys got a little bit off balance, but they recovered quickly. These guys are tough as hell, durable as anything. It was a great heavyweight clash. Unfortunately, it was just a bit ugly, and a lot of his work was smothered on the inside, and not the prettiest, but a war of attrition, no doubt. Both guys came out with blood and their eyes all fucked up. It was a war. I would have liked to see Joe hold the fight at range a little bit more rather than just marching forward in the one gear the whole time, because I felt that Huni started to catch on to his rhythm, and that's why he was able to counter his movement and counter him coming in so many times. Whereas Joe's style in the amateur, when it was much more in and out, and he was a bit more tricky and kind of just a bit more mobile. I think that would have favored him a little bit more to mix up that rhythm and mix up that distance, and his power is most effective when he's keeping them at the end of his range, because he has a really long reach and a really long, straight, hard piston-like right hand. So sometimes when you're getting countered by that counter puncher coming in, you have to actually make them come to you, and make them lead, because then it makes them uncomfortable and you can counter them being off balance or trying to come in and lead the dance. And that's where I think Goodall went wrong and could have adapted in the fight. That's up to him and his team to go back and figure out, though. I'm sure he still showed amazing intangibles with his grit and his tenacity and his strength, his abilities. But he does have to go back to the drawing board and see if he can rework and vary his game so that he's more of a threat in different positions and in different parts of the fight. For Huni, he moves on to a top 15. I'm sure he's going to cause a lot of problems for the big boys because he's so quick. He's so quick, and he's got great upper body movement, great footwork. I don't think he lacks in power quite as much as everyone emphasizes. He's still very crisp, very sharp puncher. He just doesn't have that one punch spark KO kind of thing. But if he can outwork you and out hustle you every time, then it doesn't matter. He's a smart fighter. If he can outbox you, then we may have another heavyweight Usyk-like kind of guy where, look, they can just pepper you all day and win a points decision. And I think they're both gonna go on to do great things. But yeah, Huni moves up, and we'll see what he can do on the world stage. It was a great night for Australian boxing.